In September 2022, the gaming world stood still. Over 90 videos leaked online, exposing one of the most highly anticipated projects of the decade, Grand Theft Auto 6. It wasn't just a spoiler. It was an earthquake that shook one of the most secretive studios in the industry. The footage spread like wildfire, gameplay snippets, character animations, voice lines, debug menus, all unfinished, all raw. Overnight, what had been hidden behind Rockstar's notoriously tight-lipped walls was laid bare for the world to see. But this leak was only the beginning. Behind the headlines lies a deeper story. A story of hackers, broken trust, corporate upheaval, and a decade-long journey to create what might be the most ambitious video game ever attempted. How did the biggest leak in video game history happen? How did Rockstar respond? And what secrets does it reveal about the future of the company and the future of gaming itself? This isn't just a story about a leak. It's a story about power, ambition, secrecy, and the high stakes of creating entertainment in the digital age. Today, we're diving deep into the chaos. In 2013, Grand Theft Auto 5 wasn't just a hit. It was a cultural earthquake. It earned over $1 billion in just 3 days, breaking records across entertainment, not just gaming. By 2023, it had sold over 180 million copies, generating billions in revenue, with an ever-expanding online component that kept players hooked for years. GTA 5 wasn't just a game, it was an institution. But inside Rockstar, the pressure was already building. How do you follow up the most successful game of all time? How do you raise the bar again without losing the essence that made GTA unique? Development on Grand Theft Auto 6 quietly began around 2014. Early concepts were sketched, prototypes tested, storylines explored. But it wasn't long before the cracks appeared. Creative tensions simmered beneath the surface. Key leadership figures shifted roles. And in 2020, co-founder and lead writer Dan Houser, one of the driving creative forces behind GTA and Red Dead Redemption, left the company. His departure sent shockwaves through the fanbase and raised serious questions internally. Without Houser, who would shape the soul of the next GTA? At the same time, the gaming industry itself was changing. Open-world design had evolved. Player expectations had grown. Games like The Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2 had set new standards for narrative depth. Rockstar wasn't just competing with its past, it was competing with an entire industry racing forward. And then came the controversy. In 2018, Rockstar faced a firestorm of criticism over its work culture, with reports of brutal crunch, long unpaid overtime to finish Red Dead Redemption 2. Former employees described 12-hour days, 6-day weeks, family sacrifices, personal health, deteriorating under the pressure to deliver perfection. The studio that had once been seen as a creative haven was suddenly under the spotlight for its internal practices. Rockstar responded by promising change. Management pledged to reduce crunch, improve working conditions, and shift toward a more sustainable production pace. But this shift came at a cost. Development slowed, deadlines moved. The sprawling vision of GTA 6 became harder to wrangle under tighter labor constraints. What was once a well-oiled machine of perfectionism began to evolve into something messier, slower, but perhaps healthier. Behind closed doors, Rockstar was transforming. The company restructured teams, delayed internal milestones, and quietly moved away from some of the edgier, more provocative humor that had once defined its games. In an industry that had become more socially aware and sensitive to representation, Rockstar had to ask tough questions. What does a modern GTA look like? Could it maintain its satirical bite without crossing the line into offense? Developers spoke of a more open, collaborative culture emerging. Meetings became less hierarchical. Overtime was no longer the unspoken expectation. For some, it was a breath of fresh air. For others, it signaled a loss of the creative fire that had once driven Rockstar's projects to completion under impossible deadlines. But even as the internal culture evolved, external pressure mounted. Fans combed job listings, patent filings, leaked voice acting credits. Every scrap of information was dissected online. The absence of official news fueled rampant speculation. YouTubers built entire channels dedicated to analyzing shadows in GTA Online updates, convinced they contained hints for GTA 6. Reddit threads debated map leaks, narrative directions, and release dates with religious fervor. And just as Rockstar sought to turn a new leaf, an unprecedented breach shattered their carefully guarded secrecy. On September 18, 2022, the unthinkable happened. A hacker infiltrated Rockstar's internal Slack channels, accessed development servers, and downloaded gigabytes of unreleased material. Overnight, 90 gameplay videos surfaced online, showing early builds of Grand Theft Auto 6, debug menus, placeholder assets, early character animations. For fans, it was a treasure trove. For Rockstar, it was a nightmare. The leaks confirmed long-swirling rumors. The game was set in a modern reimagining of Vice City. It featured a female protagonist for the first time. The map seemed larger and more interactive than any prior GTA. But alongside these revelations came a flood of criticism. Some mocked the early graphics, unaware that games go through years of visual polishing. Others dissected code lines, worried about missing features. Rockstar responded with a rare public statement, expressing extreme disappointment, but reassuring fans that development would continue as planned. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere was tense. Security protocols tightened. Investigations began. For the developers who had poured years of effort into the project, seeing unfinished work picked apart in viral YouTube breakdowns was demoralizing. But the question on everyone's mind was, who pulled this off and how? Investigators traced the breach to a teenager in Oxfordshire, England, 17-year-old Arian Kurtaj. Kurtaj, a known member of the notorious Lapsus Dollar hacking collective, had already been linked to cyber attacks on Uber, Microsoft, and Nvidia. But the most shocking detail wasn't the target, it was the method. Kurtaj allegedly executed the Rockstar hack from a hotel room, using nothing more than an Amazon Fire TV stick, a hotel TV, and a basic smartphone. In December 2023, a UK court ruled Kurtaj a danger to the public, sentencing him to an indefinite hospital order after psychiatrists found him unfit to stand trial. His breach of Rockstar wasn't just audacious, it was surreal. A lone teenager had pierced the defenses of one of gaming's most secretive companies with consumer electronics. The case raised uncomfortable questions about cybersecurity in an era of remote work and cloud collaboration. If Rockstar could be breached, who was safe? And how would the industry protect its creative pipelines from similar attacks? Despite the chaos, Rockstar pushed forward. In late 2023, the company released the first official teaser trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. The leaks, while painful, had only stoked anticipation. The trailer confirmed many details that fans had already pieced together. Vice City reimagined in stunning modern detail, a protagonist named Lucia, navigating both criminal enterprises and personal struggles. A map spanning an entire state called Leonida, hinting at swamps, highways, and rural outskirts beyond the neon cityscape. The narrative promised a more grounded, character-driven story, focused less on over-the-top spectacle, and more on the emotional ties between Lucia and her partner in crime, Jason. Leaks suggested a dynamic open world, one that evolves over time, with new locations, missions, and stories added post-launch. For Rockstar, GTA 6 represented not just a sequel, but an evolution, a chance to redefine what an open-world crime saga could be in the 2020, but with that ambition came enormous expectations and the pressure of a fan base waiting for a decade. With nearly 10 years in development, leadership departures, internal reforms, and the shadow of a devastating leak, Grand Theft Auto 6 carries more than just the weight of hype. It carries the weight of a company's identity in flux. Rockstar faces a delicate balancing act, staying true to its rebellious roots while adapting to a new era of gaming culture, political scrutiny, and social responsibility. The question isn't just whether GTA 6 will succeed. It almost certainly will, financially. The question is, at what cost? Can Rockstar deliver a game that meets modern expectations without the brutal work culture that fueled its past masterpieces? Can it maintain its satirical bite without crossing lines that feel outdated or offensive? And most of all, if Grand Theft Auto 6 has already made this much noise before even releasing, what kind of cultural earthquake awaits when it finally arrives?